All right. So moving on to movie number two, we have The Suicide Squad. So just for those who aren't familiar, there are always multiple versions of the Suicide Squad. Meaning there are versions where certain people are on the squad and versions where they are not, right? The Suicide Squad has had many different people join and leave the team. And I just wanted to clarify that because a lot of people think that like what happened here is that people got replaced. For example, Idris Elba is not Deadshot, who was what Will Smith's character was in the first Suicide Squad that's released. He's not Deadshot, he's Bloodsport. And Bloodsport is a completely different character than Deadshot.
That
so
is
I just
true.
wanted to I just wanted to clarify that because I wasn't sure if a lot of people know.
We're going to have to touch on that first Suicide Squad, but go ahead.
Yeah, that movie
I didn't like that movie.
It was horrid. Okay. I gave it an okay.
I didn't like it.
Oh my gosh, E-Man, sir, what did you watch? Because Harley Quinn was tolerable, but that's it.
So I gave it an okay. Only the reason why, only because of Harley Quinzel, because
she made the movie what it was, I guess.
Right. Without her, that movie would be shit on top of shit, sitting on shit, leaving in the toilet, not going down the toilet, being clogged with toilet paper because So Harley Quinzel saved that damn movie because that's why I give it an okay because she made it. Because I told everybody
she's
like
perfect
this.
as Harley Quinn. She's perfect. That's her. She's Harley Quinn.
Margot Robbie was made to play her.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, but before I'm gonna let you guys speak, but
no, you're good.
So the Joker, they need to recast that fool no matter what they need to do. I'm sorry. Look, I don't care what anybody said. I'm sorry, but bruh, you didn't come through as the Joker.
Well,
he didn't get enough time though. He didn't
get fuck that.
The writing was bad too.
I need somebody new and whatnot. They got this man over here. Look. Let me show you. They had the Joker looking like what's his name, the youngin who always like Zaz. I was like, what the fuck with green hair? I was like, man. I was like, yo, they needed like. It would have been better.
In all fairness, I have a quick question. How did you come to that full assessment? Not based on how he was in Zack Snyder's movie, but how he was, which in the extended version of Justice League, right? Because that's actually different time periods, right? DC does not connect the way that the Marvel universe connects, right? Not necessarily anyway.
Because
I feel like in Suicide Squad, like he literally only had like 5 or 6 minutes where he was actually in the movie. I feel like Jared Leto's Joker has not been given a fair shot.
Yeah, I agree.
If you think about it,
to go.
With the other Jokers, they've all had ample time to show their hijinks, right? Even Jerome from Gotham.
I thought that was a really good Joker, by the way.
No, that dude made Heath Ledger look bad because he did that joke good.
He was one of my favorite versions of Joker. I tell people that all the time. You can make fun of Gotham if you want to because the focus is on Jim Gordon or whatever. First of all, that was a good ass show. Second of all,
I like the first 2 seasons.
I wish they would have kept it going so they can get Batman coming in there and make a whole new series and then focus on Batman and Jim Gordon. That's what they should have done. That's what I thought they were going to
do. But the entire point was that Gotham showed more of the villains. Gotham was about Jim Gordon and the villains, not Batman. And I think that's part of the problem that people had with the show because their expectation, which makes sense, right? Logically, you would connect that. This is a show about Gotham. I'm going to see some great stuff about Batman. But Batman is Bruce Wayne, a child right after his parents' murder. This is even pre-Batman Begins. This is before he goes off and joins the League of Shadow and etc. Before that very last episode where you actually get to see him as Batman, majority of that show is about Jim Gordon, who actually is the very first character. Most people don't know this. Jim Gordon is the very first character besides Batman himself that was written, even before Alfred. Batman's very first other character besides him that they created was Jim Gordon. I don't think people knew that. That's actually a cool fact about him. But so that's what this show is about. It's about Jim Gordon and it's about the villains. And if you look at Cameron McGonaghan, and I apologize if I mispronounce your last name. If you're listening, by the way, by any chance, I love you. Great job as Joker, as Jerome on Gotham. But his rendition of Gotham was of the Joker was excellent. But I said all that to say he had that entire show. Jack Nicholson had a whole movie. What is his name? Joaquin Phoenix had a whole movie.
He killed it.
You know, all of these people had the appropriate forum to show their version of the Joker. Jared Leto had 5 minutes in Suicide Squad and 10 minutes in Zack Snyder's Justice League cut.
Well, I'm sorry, but he needs to go, and he needs to go figure it out right now.
And
that's
also,
all I'm just saying.
Jared Leto and Suicide Squad, some of his scenes were cut.
Right.
From the final movie.
That just tells me that he wasn't even all that great. So I can't. So I for this one, I can't say fire the director because the director and the team did an excellent job with that, you know, because
I just think he didn't get enough time, honestly.
Yeah, me too. He just didn't get enough time to show what he could do.
He needs if I have to give him time, that means I gotta give everyone time, and that means I have to give Ben Affleck time, and you know damn well I'm not giving that piece of shit any time.
But the difference is that, but that's the key difference, though, E-Man, is that those other people, okay, if you judge them based on what they did have the opportunity to do, and you still don't like them, that makes sense.
Right, I agree.
But the point is that Jared Leto did not have anywhere close as to any of the other Jokers, not even the animated one. The animated one went on for years with Mark Hamill. By the way, to all my Star Wars fans, shout out to Luke being Joker too. But Mark Hamill, who played the animated version of Joker, right, who was also Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars series, he was Joker for many, 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 many years. Even though it was the animated version, literally, Jared Leto is the version of Joker with the least amount of screen time.
I think Mark Hamill really defined the Joker, though. Like, if you think about the Joker, Mark Hamill's like the definitive version, I think.
Agreed.
Because he did the Batman anime series one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what I was just saying. Like he's the one. He's the version of the Joker, the animated series version that most of us, especially if you're a 80s, 90s baby, grew up with, right? And even though, you know, Jack Nicholson was in the movies and etc., and of course Jack is a legend and Jack's Joker is a legend, but again, all of them had ample time to fully highlight their antics as the Joker.
Right. Their Joker was more fleshed out.
So I respect that everyone had time. I can't give a nigga time where you got people cutting your scenes, man. That's telling me you're not doing a good job. That's telling me you can't be a good Joker.
That was a studio. It wasn't, it wasn't the director.
Oh, it's the studio?
Yeah.
So these niggas don't even believe in him.
Suicide Squad movie. It wasn't scenes out of a movie about the Joker. It was scenes in a movie about Suicide Squad, so it's probably that they were not just cutting his time because he sucked or something, but rather more because they were trying to cut back the time of the movie.
Right, they're just trying to cut back the time of the movie.
Yeah.
So when you see, because I've seen the animated one that DC put out for the Suicide Squad and whatnot, they're basically using the same characters on the news on the screenplay one that they first came out with. Even in that one, when I watched the animated one, Joker really didn't have that many scenes in it because they focused so much on the Suicide Squad because Harley and the Joker were not even together and whatnot.
Hold on, you're talking about Batman Assault on Arkham?
Yeah, the Batman, the Assault on Arkham.
I love that one. That's so
that one is that thing was beautiful and whatnot.
Beautiful. Yeah, that was dope. I really like that one.
Mm-hmm. So I have to go back and watch that one. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
I watched it like 10 times and I gotta rewatch it again because I gotta find it. But they're using a little bit of much of that story and a little bit also of the comic too. But Joker didn't really have that much scenes in it. So I felt basically with this guy, they were going to pick someone who they won't get too many scenes with them in it. But I still feel like he didn't do enough, like a good job because like he didn't really need to do anything, but he's not part of the squad. So it didn't even matter. He's just basically like Harley's ex.
Here's the thing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you good.
But so since we're on that, so I think that the first Suicide Squad movie, that one should have probably mimicked Batman Assault on Arkham. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm saying that is because with that movie, even though Joker wasn't like, I guess, a main character, he was basically the villain in that animated movie. And I honestly think he should have been the main, I guess, quote, villain in this the first Suicide Squad movie. And actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and you know, we could all, you know, you guys could look it up. Everybody else out there listening could look it up. But I believe the director, David Ayer, I think he mentioned something along the lines of going back, he would have made the Joker more of like the main villain and in the live action movie, because I think one of the problems, and this is my opinion, but one of the problems with the live action movie was that they went supernatural with the villain, with like they went with what's her name?
And it was too much, the witch.
Whatever, I can't remember. Her name will come to me, but yeah, they went like supernatural with it. And with a movie like Suicide Squad, you just got to be a little bit more humble with it. That to me, that's more of a street level movie. Like that's supposed to be raw, gritty. That should have been rated R from the jump. You know,
it was rated PG-13.
This new one's gonna be rated R, but the first one that came out was PG-13.
Dear goodness. Hold on. Before anybody else say anything, I gotta yell at PSA. I don't know what you directors are doing out there. All right. I'm gonna give it to y'all right now. All y'all. All right. I want all y'all to listen in and tune in. All right. Y'all need to stop making these movies that PG-13 that's supposed to be rated R. All right.
I agree.
Because I don't know what y'all doing. Is it because you guys want 13-year-olds to start watching these movies so that you know their parents can pay and whatnot? Mm-hmm. That shit needs to stop right now.
Well, rated R movies are risky. And yes. I understand that, but it's like you got to take that risk.
Yeah.
You know? And I think Deadpool showed that rated R movies could be profitable. Rated R superhero movies could be profitable.
You're damn right. Because Ryan Reynolds went off. That I was so shocked. After when I watched both Deadpools, I said to myself, I don't even know if Ryan Reynolds is actually gay or straight after that movie, because he played that character so well, he made Wolverine look bad, because, you know, Deadpool is basically like Wolverine's alter ego. And like, I'm sitting over here, I was like, yo, what did you do to play that part so well? Because it kind of freaked me out a little bit, because I was like, you're doing the part so well, like to the point, like, you look like he felt like he was actually Deadpool. So I was like, yo.
Well, he was made. It felt like he was made to play Deadpool.
He was made to play Deadpool. I mean, if you think about Deadpool as a character and like his sense of humor, Ryan Reynolds fits that perfectly. So he was made for that character.
That shit was what my. And the cool thing about it, I gotta give them respect because they finally put Cable in a damn
Yes,
movie.
and they used Josh Brolin, who y'all, of course, y'all know is Thanos,
Mhm.
is one of my favorite actors. And the fact that he was even able to be Cable in Deadpool, which is, of course, because different studios own the rights to Deadpool, but the
That's
fact that he
true.
was able to be Cable in Deadpool, but also be Thanos in the Avengers series, he is that dope. I love Josh Brolin. Shout out to Josh Brolin.
So I'm finally glad that they're not disrespecting every single character. You know, I think Bishop also. I got no. I don't think Bishop was in that one or
But in
whatnot. I
Deadpool,
think Bishop was in the X-Men. I think the Final Stand one.
he's in Days of Future Past.
Days of Future
Hmm.
Past. There we go.
Hmm.
That one.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad they're finally adding all the cooler characters
Hmm.
back in and whatnot. What I'm waiting for somebody to put Jubilee finally in an X-Men movie.
Oh, that would be cool.
No, she
Yeah,
made a cameo in one of them.
I think
Oh, she
so.
is?
I think so.
Yeah,
Because Shadowcat was actually in the original first one. Because remember, you know how Juggernaut was chasing her and whatnot?
Hmm.
right.
Yeah. So they added Shadowcat in there, which was, also pretty dope. She had like a little small part in it. But I haven't seen him say anything about Jubilee. And Jubilee was the shit. I don't care what anybody said and
Yeah, I like
whatnot.
Jubilee.
You know?
Yeah, she was alright
And
to me. I wasn't
yeah,
all
she was
She's
crazy
dope
about
not
for me.
she's not like
She-
the best
eh,
X-Men ever, but she's cool.
yeah, she was dope. She was a young teen and whatnot, and like and it made it really cool because when it comes to the X Men, the only team they talk about is Iceman and whatnot, and that
Hmm.
shit like it gets it don't get kind of dull. It's just a simple fact. We was like, oh, we all know that Bobby's whatchamacallit is a team. Like, what about Jubilee? What about Shadowcat? Like,
Sure.
I didn't like how they did Iceman in those X-Men movies.
No,
I,
no, me either.
they overplayed them on those ones. I don't know.
I feel like they didn't play up his powers enough though. Like
Right,
They really don't.
really they didn't show his true power until Days of Future Past, I feel like, where he was doing the
right,
ice glide and everything.
Mhm.
So
exactly.
yeah.
What about what's that? What's it? I forget the other X Men dude, the one with the fire and whatnot. That he wasn't X Men. He wasn't.
Oh, you talking about the one that was like that was in that same movie with
Yeah,
Iceman,
A
like
yeah.
pyro.
Pyro.
Pyro. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah. So even Pyro itself and whatnot, they downplayed the character a little bit, but they could have like pushed it more and whatnot. Like they could have do more because I felt they did a whole lot more for Quicksilver. And even like for Jean's character, they were really pushing Phoenix harder than I've ever seen before. Like they didn't even care about Jean Grey. They kept pushing Phoenix in all the X-Men movies. If you noticed that,
Hmm.
they really were pushing Phoenix. They didn't even give a damn about Jean Grey. It was like, fuck Jean Grey. We're going with
Well, yeah,
Phoenix.
they were building to that point. It was like, yeah, we got Jean Grey,
Right.
but she's about
It
to
was
become
like,
the Phoenix.
fuck it.
Exactly. That was the reason for that. But fellas, I apologize. We digressed a little bit.
No, it's all right.
We were on the
That's that
we were
dork
on
in
the
us coming out.
Suicide Squad and ended up on the Marvel side. But that happens right when you're having these natural conversations. But so just to give everyone just a few highlights of the new Suicide Squad movie. So as I was saying, Idris Elba is not Deadshot. He is Bloodsport. And there are multiple versions of Bloodsport. He is the Robert Du Bois version. And I understand that there's like three different versions of him. That's the one he is. And he is a villain of Superman's. So basically he's a guy that like had a mental breakdown. And this was like during like the Vietnam War or one of those old wars or something. And then he worked with Lex Luthor and got convinced that like Superman was bad. So then he basically became a villain of Superman, and he tried to defeat him by like shooting kryptonite bullets at him and stuff. But obviously he did not win. And so he was locked up, and then later Amanda Waller comes and gets him to join the Suicide Squad. And so, yeah, so just for those who are wondering, he's not Deadshot. He's Bloodsport, different character. And then another character that they're bringing to this version of Suicide Squad, which I'm very excited about, is Savant. Now, Savant is being played by Michael Rooker, and I don't know if a lot of you are familiar, but Michael Rooker has been in a lot of stuff. He was actually in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's also one of the earliest characters in The Walking Dead. But if you don't know who he is, familiarize yourself with him. He's playing Savant, and he's playing the earlier versions of him, who Savant is like another version of Batman, but the one that goes really wrong, because like he's a rich kid too. And he at first wants to become just like Batman. He wants to be like this vigilante that goes and, stops criminals. He even worked with Batman for a while, but like he felt like basically Batman was like being too soft on the criminals. He was like, no, these are criminals. We don't need to give them any, leeway. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's kill them and all this other stuff.
And I'm actually reading up on them.
Yeah, and so he ended up like blackmailing a lot of people and all of this shit. But so of course he is eventually hunted down, by Batman, and they put him in prison. But so his most recent version of himself is the one that has been like a frequent member of the Suicide Squad for some time now. So I'm really excited to see how Michael Rooker plays him. Now, obviously, Michael Rooker is older than, a younger version of Batman. So I think if anything, this is supposed to be him after spending a lot of time in jail. But I'm still super excited because of the actor playing him to see this character. So I think that's going to be super, super cool. And then King Shark.
Shark. That's what I'm excited about.
Yes.
King motherfucking Shark.
I'm a little nervous about King Shark, fellas, because, here's the thing. Obviously, he has to be mostly CGI, right? Yeah. And his origin story is that like he is like the prince of like a god shark, right? And that's why he has these powers, because they were bestowed upon like his dad, who was this king god shark type of person. And long story short, he comes out and he doesn't really do a good job of discerning who he should kill and who he shouldn't kill. At one point, he was kind of just like a shark would, just biting off the heads of everybody. But like, I'm super interested to see how they do it, because they wanted to put him in the first Suicide Squad, but wasn't confident in their CGI at the time. So that's the reason why they went with Croc previously. Yeah, that's why they went with Killer Croc previously, because originally they were going to go with King Shark, but was not comfortable with their CGI and thought Croc was easier to pull off.
And Croc is easier to pull off because you can put a man in a suit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And by the way, I didn't like the way they did Killer Croc in that movie, but
no, they did him wrong. They did him dirty. They did my guy super dirty in that movie.
How you guys feel about Killer Frost though?
About who?
Killer Frost.
Killer Frost? I'm not familiar with Killer Frost.
Killer Frost, yeah, she she's basically has ice power. And I know I think she's a Flash villain, I want to say.
She is a Flash villain, but she's actually part of this squad, and I don't think she was actually in the first one, by the way.
No, she wasn't in the first movie, but she's not in this movie coming up.
No, she's not in this one either.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah. She was in that cartoon, The Assault on Arkham. I know that, but yeah, she's not in the live action movies.
No, she's not in this one. But interesting. I'm going to look her up after this. Thank you for that nugget.
Yeah, she's dope. She's actually in the Flash TV show.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, which King Shark was in that TV show also. And
it's like we're dealing
the way they did him in terms of CGI wasn't really too bad, surprisingly, especially for a TV show when it, where they're more lower budget. From the few episodes that I've seen King Shark in on that TV show, I didn't think it was too bad, honestly. So I don't know, the way he looks in this movie, this Suicide Squad movie coming up, I was like, well, I gotta see him in action.
Right, me too.
I'm just glad he's in the movie, but
Same. I agree with you 100%. The trailer makes him look kind of corny-ish, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that the actual movie they do much better. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
I still feel remove the Joker and please bring Killer Frost.
Well, Joker's not a member of this latest Suicide Squad.
Well, he never was a Suicide Squad member. That's the thing that people don't know. He's not even part of the squad. He's just that dope of a villain just around because of Harley Quinzel. So
okay,
and without Harley Quinn, there's basically, I wouldn't say there's no Joker, but that's what makes Harley, because the simple fact is she slightly is a slave to basically the Joker. Basically, if you had to really draw it up, because they are lovers, then they break up.
Yeah, they're in an abusive relationship.
So yeah,
right.
So you can basically
the most toxic relationship in the history.
I think that is the most toxic relationship in the world. That thing is extremely toxic. So I don't think anything gets worse than that. I'm just saying, because
not at all. Yeah, that's one of the most toxic of toxic relationships. But he's not in this movie, and I think that this squad is, believe it or not, intended to be a lot more comical than the first one. The trailer gave off very comical vibes to me, and I know that's generally to a certain extent how Suicide Squad is, but I think they had an attempt at entirely too much of that, and coupled with not having a really kind of fluid villain, as Pat mentioned, right? Because they had a villain that really was just like, they went too much on the mystical side for that first movie. This movie appears to be a lot more comical, and so I'm hoping they offset that with the villain being super dope.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
What they need to do is they need to go recast Waller, though, because she was not
Viola Davis. You don't like Viola Davis as well?
Viola Davis is good as Waller.
Yeah,
she didn't have that fear. When I saw her, she wasn't a bad. She didn't make it look believable to me in my eyes, but she wasn't. See, like, Waller is very aggressive, and she get what she wants, and I feel like that one she was like more like passive aggressive. Like, I need more like aggression, because they didn't look like they were scared of her and whatnot. It didn't make it seem believable. And I feel, and that's what I'm feeling like, where most people had this, it wasn't that great of a movie, and and it wasn't that great, or it was bad, it was trash, and then Harley Quinzel basically saved the whole movie.
Okay.
You know what I didn't like about that first movie also, honestly, and this is gonna probably come as a shock to the listeners out there, but I'm gonna say Will Smith. And let me preface this to say that I do like Will Smith. Like, I like him as an actor, as an entertainer. So I have nothing against Will Smith. No disrespect to Will Smith. But for that particular part, which he played Deadshot, I just feel like he did not fit that role. I would have rather seen probably more of a unknown actor.
Who played
Deadshot.
You know who I really want to play Deadshot? He is that dude. Everyone knows him. Y'all remember? Damn, what is that movie that Tyler Perry made? And he made 2 parts to it, and they got like
I don't watch Tyler Perry movies.
I don't watch him. No, you don't. But there's an actor over there. I gotta find this dude's name, but he's also a really good guy, and really good guy, plays karate, and I consider him as an A-list actor, but
Michael Jai White.
There you go. That's the guy I was talking about.
I wouldn't. No.
I feel like he would have played Deadshot more because of his skill
No,
sets to go with it, but he don't look like Deadshot. That was the only
no,
thing.
nah. He's better for like Bronze Tiger, which he played in
Yeah.
the Green
Anything
Arrow
with
show.
martial arts, because he actually truly is a black belt martial artist.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
Multiple belts. I think it's multiple belts, multiple
Yeah,
disciplines.
multiple black belts. Yep.
Yeah.
So who do you guys think we need to like towards like Deadshot? Who do you guys think?
Ooh,
Like,
that's
I gotta
tough.
think about that one, but I just need to say that I didn't like Will Smith for that role.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Because the thing is,
Mhm.
I honestly, when I saw Will Smith as Deadshot, I couldn't suspend belief. Like I couldn't. I just felt like I was seeing Will Smith. Like I wasn't
Mhm.
seeing Deadshot.
I'm not gonna lie,
You know,
that is
especially
true.
the fight scene with him and Batman in the beginning. You know, when he was with his daughter. I'm like, okay, Batman's fighting Will Smith. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like Batman was fighting Deadshot.
That makes so much sense.
It's like Batman versus the Fresh Prince. Like I just,
True.
The Fresh Prince.
Yeah,
Yo,
I just so I was like,
yo.
nah, that role's
Yo,
not for him.
yo.
Like I felt like somebody else should have been Deadshot.
Well,
Okay, I could feel that. I could respect that, sir.
so listeners
that's
out there, before we
understandable.
continue again, can we make sure that you guys get to Will Smith and let him know he wasn't a great Deadshot?
Oh my goodness.
But I
Can
fuck
we
with
make-
Will
can
Smith.
we make
You know,
sure-
there's no slight against Will Smith.
This ain't no diss. This ain't no hate to Willie.
I'm a
all right?
fan of Will Smith.
Me
Like I
too,
like him.
huge
fan.
I ain't gonna lie, you know, like Will Smith got excellent music. You dope. You're an excellent rapper, but man, it seems like you didn't come up big on Deadshot, so we need a new one and whatnot.
I mean,
and
I
the Joker
definitely like
too.
him on the acting side. You know, but just for this particular role, I was just like, nah.
You know, it's so funny you say that. You know, it's so funny you say that. PAT. When I thought he was gonna play Deadshot, I thought he was gonna do something like what he did in like Men in Black and whatnot. I kid you not.
What?
Just like
What do you mean?
that's what came up. I'm not even gonna lie. When I first heard about it, I was like, it just made me think of Men in Black and Men in Black 2. Like when he played Deadshot. So I'm thinking like he gonna have like I thought he was just gonna play this role and just be like he's in Men in Black and just be like and like mess up on the line or something, but it just didn't work well. So I'm like,
I understand what you mean. You just, for some reason, you thought it was going to be like a little comical, like he was in Men in Black or something, and he
that's
didn't.
what I thought. But I couldn't take him. I don't know.
He wasn't a fit for that. He wasn't a fit for Deadshot, in my opinion. He wasn't like the worst part of the movie by far.
No, he wasn't the worst part, but he just wasn't a fit for that role.
Yeah, he wasn't a fit for Deadshot. No, I totally agree with you there. And just to wrap up, fellas, so we can move on to the next movie. The last thing I wanted to mention about the Suicide Squad, well, two quick things, is one that John Cena's entry into the squad. He's also the last person I'm super excited about joining the squad, only because, yes, I am that dork that used to actually watch wrestling.
Yeah, I used to watch wrestling too.
And right about when I stopped watching wrestling was like right after John Cena took his reigns. So to see him, and to see him as the Peacemaker. Now, first of all, the character of the Peacemaker is actually fairly cool because like he actually does have morals to an extent. It's just that like he got like a fucked up way of going about it because even in the trailer, at least in one of the trailers I saw, Bloodsport says to him, you know, you're kind of like a fucked up version of Captain America. And he's like, thank you. And that's how the Peacemaker character is. And so John Cena is going to have the opportunity to be like comical, but also like doing action stuff. And so that to me is going to be cool. And then the only other last tidbit that I have, I'm sorry, go ahead, you man.
Sorry, I apologize. But was he in one of those was he in like one of the latest Transformer movies or whatnot?
Like I could not tell you. I wasn't a big fan
I
of
think so.
John
I think he
Cena,
had like a very small role. I don't know. I do
be,
know he's been having movie roles, but I know some of them have been pretty small.
True. Yeah, he doesn't have very many to my knowledge, I don't think, but I know he's been in some, and I know he has like a solo movie where he's going to save a child or something along those lines. But in general, the wrestling John Cena, I was definitely a huge fan, so I'm excited. And then the last little tidbit I had about the Suicide Squad was the villain. So Believe it or not, I'm actually going the opposite way with the villain. I am a little concerned because I don't know how much you fellas know about it, but the villain is Starro, which is,
yeah,
yeah, it's like an alien
yeah.
type of thing. And I'm just concerned that, as Pat mentioned earlier, that they're going to end up doing too much with the villain the way they did in the first one.
Yeah,
Because it's
that's a
like, I,
concern.
My
yeah,
apologies. So he wasn't in. He was actually in the Bumblebee movie and whatnot. John Cena, by the way.
okay,
So it
gotcha.
wasn't a Transformer movie, but it is still slightly a Transformer movie. But
Yes, it is,
continue.
right. No, you're fine. But yeah, so with Starro, I'm just a little nervous. I was just saying I'm a little nervous, as you know, Pat mentioned earlier, the first one, it had, some issues with the villain aspect of it, right? They were just doing a lot with the villain. And so I'm worried that they may do the same thing again with this one, because you're talking about an alien force who is the villain here. And I think I even saw in a trailer somewhere where, like, there's going to be like a starfish, a big ass starfish in the middle of the street. That sounds a little corny to me. It
Yeah,
looked a little corny in
real
the
corny.
trailer. So we'll see.
That is
We
a
will
concern.
always see.
That since you mentioned that, because I do remember seeing Starro in the trailer. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely a concern, because I'm just like, y'all about to do this shit again with the
Right.
villain? Like
Well,
Exactly.
for me, when it comes to, because I'm not, I know a lot of DC characters, but I'm not as heavily into DC like I am in the Marvel.
Hmm.
But I'm very interested to see this whole new Suicide, because Waller has put together several Suicide Squads,
Yeah.
and I tell everyone it's not as dope if you don't have Killer Frost in there, because she's just like she's like a big bully, and she's
Hmm.
a chick, like she's
Right.
really a bully, like
No, I
she
feel you.
like she don't
Well,
even play.
and let me just clarify. I again, I'm not saying that like Starro is going to be whack, because it's my understanding, like, he's super dope. Like, he has like telepathy and telekinesis, and like he can even like project energy beams and all of that stuff. But the way it looks in the trailers, like where you see a big ass starfish, I'm like, if they stick with the cooler version of him, where he's like the man just utilizing that telepathy and the telekinesis and the energy beams and shit, that might be cool. But if they go too corny with like putting a big ass pink starfish in the middle of the street, that might be a problem.
Hey,
So,
this is the
so
reason why. This is the reason why I have beef with DC all the time, because they they be doing too much for no
mm-hmm,
reason sometimes, and they just
mm-hmm,
they and I feel in my eyes, been watching a lot of Marvel and DC. It seems like DC's always not just changing characters, but because their universes are so different and they're not
mm-hmm,
linking, that's why you have so many different, you know, Batmans, Supermans, and all
mm-hmm,
the other different characters like
mm-hmm.
that. And you don't know which one you're going to get when it comes to
Right.
DC. See, with Marvel, you know what you're going to get. But for
Yep.
they have a
DC,
plan, they have a plan
Exactly.
for
That's what it
everything.
is.
And DC's playing catch up. That's the problem too. It's like they're trying
Yep.
to catch up, and it's
mm-hmm.
just like they lost the race. The race.
That's that
Exactly.
and that and
Marvel
that.
planned this out since 2008, probably before that.
Yep.
With the
Before
first
that,
Iron Man
even.
movie. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
Hmm.
they pretty much they're ahead.
Yeah.
They
There's no
planned
way
that
for. There's nothing that DC can do at this point to catch up to the legacy of Marvel movies, the
out.
MCU.
Yep.
But what
It's
they
hard.
can do is release great films
Yeah.
that bring people that are super fan. Because I would say I really am honestly 50-50. I'm 50% a super fan of DC Comics and 50% a super fan of Marvel Comics. But I am also a very realistic and truthful person. And the reality of it is, when it comes to the MCU is far more sophisticated than the DCU. It's just no question about it.
That's
Now, that's speaking to the movie universe. because the shows wise, until recently with the Falcon and Winter Soldier and with fucking WandaVision, in my opinions, the shows were a little inferior. Like I'm not a fan of the Shield. I'm not a fan of some of this other stuff that has come out. But and I was a huge fan of the Flash. I love Gotham. I thought that the shows DC did a little bit better. But even now, that's starting to change. And Marvel has picked up on what they needed to change about their shows and has done a great job with it. So DC, in my opinion, just is never going to be caught up to Marvel, but they have the opportunity to fix some of the same bad behavior they've had.
Well, they're doing that bad behavior. My bad, PAT. But
no, you good.
No, but that they're doing that bad behavior. They're changing that bad behavior only because the simple fact is they've been doing all these things like, you know, these multi crossover universe because people have been enjoying it because they've been waiting to see, you know, are they going to create some type of weird Justice League inside the little multi universe with the Flash, the Arrow, you know, Supergirl, Superman. Maybe we might swing in a little Batman. You know, they already got Bat. They already have. Is it Batwoman?
Which one?
Yeah, Kate. Yeah, I think is it the Batwoman?
Batwoman.
Yeah, that is Batwoman with his cousin Kate and whatnot. So,
in what movie or show are you referring to?
That there is a Netflix series which is called Batwoman.
Oh, okay.
Is that on Netflix or I thought that was CW?
See, it's on CW, but they mostly Netflix, Netflix. I think they have I think they have rights and whatnot.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, because
that's the reason why you can watch because I watch it off Netflix and whatnot.
Yeah, Flash and Arrows on Netflix also.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a Batwoman because they did do a multi-universe that I saw, I think last year, where it was Batwoman, the Arrow. They brought in the what's that other one? The League, DC Legends of Tomorrow. They brought those in with Kara and whatnot, and then they did a whole 2-week. A whole month. They did, I think, 4 or 5 episodes of a whole multiverse where they were all together and whatnot. And it was pretty dope. And people's been really buying into that because they're getting more and more people into the shows now because a lot of people are mad because, that the character that's been playing Supergirl, this might be her last season. Supposedly. So everyone's been really mad about that. But then she's willing to do multiverse universe stuff because they're making, good money on it. And she doesn't have to film for that long or she don't have to be in many scenes and whatnot, so.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you for letting me know that. I wasn't really aware of that. So I appreciate you giving us the insight on that. That's what's up. So just to keep it going, fellas, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the Suicide Squad.